up, everyone? My name's Alicia and welcome back to AA Homestead. Now today we have something special for you. I'm going to be building something today. I already built one yesterday, but I want to build another one. So let's go ahead and show you what we're going to be doing today. The weather has been very generous. It has been warm, it has been sunny. I have been taking advantage of this weather. I have been thoroughly enjoying it. I know that this upcoming week, though, it is supposed to, at night anyway, it is supposed to cool down. I think Monday at night we're supposed to get snow, which I'm pretty tired of. I'm sure you guys are too. If you don't get snow, congratulations. But today, with the beautiful weather, as you can see, I already have one behind me. I worked on this yesterday, and I wanted to show you guys how I do this. Now, the ones that I got these at Dollar Tree, and these are the stackable 3-tier planters. Now, when you're ordering them online, you have a limit. I think it's 35, and you can't order under that, unfortunately. I think just because the prices are so cheap, that's the way that it is. So I got 35 of them. Now before this, I didn't really have, my property of my own to be able to do this. I mean, they're not technically permanent. You can move them, but with the dirt and everything, it might just be a little bit more difficult. But I have an idea of where I want these. Now this one here, unfortunately, it is a little close to the side of the house. I'm kind of one of those people that don't like to pre-plan, and I just go with the flow, and then things like this happen. But honestly, I still have a lot of space that I'm not worried about the back. And plus, like I have 35 of these. That is quite a few, so I'm not concerned with that. But I can do 2 more, but right now I'm just going to be doing 1 more. So let's go ahead and do that. Now for my situation where I'm going to be putting these, I have the ground cover just because I don't want weeds to be growing. So I do have to burn a spot in the ground cover for this T-post. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, before you do this, you want to make sure that when you have, for instance, I had the garage up against that, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough space if you want to use the whole planter all the way around, like I had mentioned, where I can't really get to the back of that planter. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. But where this one is going, there is nothing surrounding it, so I'm not concerned about that. But I pretty much want that to be right here, so that's where I'm going to go ahead and burn that spot. And I've got my little butane torch here. Might take a couple tries to get it to go, but we'll get it going here shortly, or not. There we go. All right, simple as that. Now you don't want to touch this after you've done that, just because it is going to be very hot. So you want to let it cool before you do anything with that. The next thing that you're going to need for this is you're going to need a ladder, which I have behind me. And you're going to need a hammer and a T-post. Now, I was thinking, what can I use? Because these are not that sturdy, like I had mentioned. I was going to pull them out for you guys. So, for example, when I did that, it's not really my fault. It's just they're not very sturdy. But I mean, for the price and what you can do with them, if you're trying to be on a budget and space conscious at the same time, they're perfect for that. Anyway, I'm gonna get that T-post. I was thinking of other things that I could use besides T-posts, just because I didn't want to make a large hole in those. But for the sturdiness, that's the only thing that I could really come up with at the moment. If there's anything else that you can think of that you could do instead of a T-post that would require maybe a smaller hole that could still be sturdy, put that in the comments below and let me know if you guys have any ideas. Let's go ahead and get that T-post. There are different size T-posts that you can use. The reason why I did this one, for each color, I have 3 different colors, and each of them are, I think I have, one is 11, but I have 12 of the others. I could fit 13 total, but it is just tall enough for my height where I could reach that, and it's not extremely tall. Now you could also use smaller T-posts as well. If you're looking for something more shorter, you can definitely play around with that. You don't have to use, you know, this big of a T-post. You can go smaller as well. Now for the next step of this T-post and putting it in the ground is my favorite part. This is going to be your stress reliever. It's very therapeutic. If you have anything that you want to let out, this is going to be your moment. I feel much better after that. But the next step is to drill holes into your planters. Now this part gets a little bit tricky. I ended up using a hole saw. I measured these just to make sure, but I have trust issues, so I'm gonna ask Andrew. But it says that this one is 1.5 inches and that this one is a 2-inch. Now, I used both, and I honestly preferred the 2-inch, but it just leaves such a big hole and just too much for that dirt to work its way down in between the planters. You could put something to stop it, newspaper, anything, or you know, like the ground cover that we have. I thought about doing that on the very bottom one because I think I did probably about 4 of them that were the 2-inch, and it honestly, it's just too big. So I used the 1.5 inch, and it works. But the problem that I noticed, and I showed you at the very top one, it seems to do more damage using this. It's a lot rougher on the planters, but the hole is smaller and you don't have to worry about as much dirt going through. Like I said, you could use ground cover on that, but that is definitely time consuming if that is something that you do want to do. But I'm going to do my best to not damage these as much as possible. I did do a few at a time. I did stack them. It's easier instead of doing it one by one. It does help cause less damage when you do that multiple at once. So let's go ahead and drill our holes in here. I also did want to mention that these come with little holes down here that you can knock out. Now, I did not do that on most of these on here. Some of them did have the holes knocked out just from messing around with them from last year. But because I am putting a hole in the middle, I don't think it's necessary, but honestly, that's completely up to you if that's something that you want to do. you can see here that these turned out really well, and it does help because it does come with, you know, already like a deep setted spot for that. But I tend to take this really slow just because, like I said, these are really fragile, and I want to try to break as less as possible. So that's why I'm going so slow. But let's keep going. Now that I have all of those drilled out, I'm going to go ahead and put these on the T-post. I do have to say though that this turned out way better than the ones that I did the other day. I don't know if it was just because I went a little bit slower than what I did on these. They turned out really good. So let's go ahead, like I said, and get these on the T-post. I've got all of them stacked together now, and the reason why I do multiple at a time with the hole saw is because it helps keep them in line. So when you're putting them, not one of them's not going one way and the other one's not going another way, they all fit cohesively. So that's also why I do it that way. Now that I have the tower finished, it is very sturdy. I don't see it going anywhere. It's in there pretty good, which is what I was striving for. For the next step in this process, what you can do is you might want to like hit it with a little bit of water, just because using that hole saw, you're going to have some pieces of plastic randomly throughout. So if you don't want that in your soil, you can go ahead and wash that out before you put any dirt in here. Now I can put dirt in here right now. I'm actually going to wait. I did put some in the other one. I didn't finish that one completely yet. We are supposed to get quite a bit of rain and, like I said, cooler weather coming in. So I'm not in any rush to get anything in these planters, but I just wanted to get them installed. That way they're ready for the future. Now that that's all finished, let's go ahead and pick up and put this stuff away.